If you just bought a SawStop or you're considering buying one, I have 2 tips that you must know. The first one is how to swap out your brake cartridge for when you're running a dado stack. The second one is how to put your saw into bypass mode for when you're cutting material like pressure treated lumber or anything that you suspect might have nails or staples in it. Because if you don't know how to do that, you might possibly run into this. So first, to swap out your brake cartridge, remove your insert and then raise your blade all the way up. Next, grab your wrenches and remove your blade. And make sure to not drop the nut down under. After you've removed your blade, you can also go ahead and remove your riving knife because you won't need this if you have a dado stack set up. Now this is the view that you're going to have right here. Make sure to have this handle up that clamps the riving knife so that it's out of the way so that we can access the locking knob to remove the brake. Now to remove the brake, you just need to turn this little red lever, pull it up. And once that's pulled up, you can slide it right out like that. And then grab your brake cartridge and just pull it straight out. Now to put the new one in, you'll see that there's this little HDMI looking port right here, and then there's the shaft here and here. And so I'm going to put my brake in with that little HDMI looking thing facing this way, and then we'll slide it onto those 2 shafts and then just press it in place like that. And then that little locking lever can slide right back into this hole right here. Once it goes in, don't forget to turn it down like that so it's locked in place. Now with that all installed, you can continue forward with installing your dado stack. And first you're going to want to flip this handle down, and then you can slide on your dado stack. Now after that's installed, SawStop recommends that you check that the distance between your blade and the brake is at the proper distance. And that proper distance is anywhere between 1/16 of an inch and 3/32 of an inch. Now I've owned this saw for over 3 years now, and I've never had to make an adjustment to mine. But if you want to check that yours is accurate, this came with your SawStop, and it's a little gauge to help you know if it's set correctly. So you can go ahead and remove that Allen wrench. And then right here, just says 0.070, and we're going to try and see if that fits perfectly in between the blade and the brake. And to do that, you can just hold that down against the cartridge and make sure that the tooth of your blade is just right above it, almost just perfectly even with it. Now if you find that your spacing is off and you need to raise or lower the position of it, you can do so by using that wrench that was attached to the yellow jig, placing it in here, and turning it either left or right, wherever you need, to change the position so it's accurate. Next, we're going to hop down here and I'm going to show you how to put your saw into bypass mode. So bypass mode is a mode that you can put your saw into so that the brake doesn't operate. It's going to take away that whole system. Reasons you might want to do that, like I said before, is if you're cutting any wet lumber or maybe even aluminum, anything that's metal that conducts electricity. That's what's going to set this thing off. So real quick, let's check out how to do this. So this is what your power control panel is going to look like 99% of the time. It's got a solid green light right there, and then you can go ahead and turn it on. And the brake cartridge is active right now. And to shut it off, press that. It'll blink, and then it'll go solid again once it's ready for you to be able to turn it back on. Now to put it into bypass mode, there's a key over here. And so we're going to turn this key, that blinks solid, and then this starts to blink, and you want to hold this for at least 2 seconds. Then you can turn it on. Keep holding it for a couple seconds. And then as you let go, that green light continues to blink, which is your indicator that your saw is now in bypass mode. So we'll turn it off. Now that it's off, when I go to turn this saw back on, if I don't put it into bypass mode, then it's going to be just how it comes, how it should be. The brake will be active now unless I do the key trick. So if I turn it on, right now, brake's still active. Then one more time, I'll show you real quick again just how to do this. It's super easy. Turn it, it blinks, give it a couple seconds, pull it, blinks again, hold it, let go. As long as that green light's blinking, you're in bypass mode, you're good to go. Now before I let you guys go, I'm going to share 2 quick stories of how this happened to me. Thank you, Lord, it wasn't because I ran my hand through the saw. I haven't gotten to that point yet. This was all happened because I wasn't paying attention, to be honest. I have set off 2 of these single blade cartridges, and I did it the same way both times, and I've set off 1 dado stack cartridge. It was a very expensive mistake. You got to buy a new blade, a new cartridge. It wasn't good. So I want to share these 2 stories with you so that you guys don't make the same mistake. So the way I set off the 2 single blades, it was the same thing. First time I did it was with a Craig miter gauge, and the second time I did it was with this exact 90 miter gauge. And basically I was making some adjustments to my miter gauge, and I put it away, and then I went back to use it again. I forgot I had made the adjustment, and basically my aluminum fence was scooted over too far in front of the blade, and I put my workpiece on, shoved it through the saw. The second this aluminum came in contact with the blade, it shot down so fast, it was insane. And I was ticked because it was super expensive. I had to stop my project, drive to the store, get a whole new setup. It wasn't good. So first tip, make sure the fence on your miter gauge is not in front of your blade. The second way that I set it off, which was a more expensive endeavor, was with this ruler. This is a little hook rule. And I set off my dado stack with it because, again, I wasn't paying attention. I was too concerned with my fence position, and I was using this to set up my fence position for like a critical dado cut. And once I got into the flow of things, I forgot that I placed this on my table saw like that, and then I grabbed a large piece of plywood, not one this small, and the ruler kind of blended in with my cast iron tabletop. So when I set the plywood on top of it, I ran it through, I nicked, the blade nicked the ruler, and that set it off as well, halting my project, pretty much ruining my day. So it was not good. So moral to the story, pay attention when you're using your SawStop and don't get complacent. I hope you guys enjoyed those 2 tips that I just shared with you today. Those were 2 things that I really needed to know and I wanted to know when I first bought my SawStop. So I made this video for you guys, so maybe I'd make it a little easier for you. Thanks so much guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one.